there that, like after a good sermon, the congregation doesn't want to go home, right? People are still hugging, shaking hands. And I thought from Joe Biden today, certainly he was commander-in-chief, but he was also papa-in-chief. He gave a speech to comfort the nation. He said, in part, to those who did not vote for me, if you still disagree, so be it. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. So it was a unifying speech. And George, if you think about it, it's a 4.5-hour drive from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where Biden's from, to the White House in Washington. It took Joe Biden 78 years from the shy side of blue collar to become the most powerful person on earth. That remains only possible in America. We are not a perfect nation, as he reminded us today, but the nation, the promise of America, remains today like no other on earth. And I think Joe Biden, this ceremony, even the presence of Mike Pence today, reminds us what is so unique about our nation.
Chris Christie, thank you. Byron, did Joe Biden meet the moment?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he gave the speech he needed to give. And
I so much of dad wisdom they gave.
Very genuinely reminded, historically, 1920, Warren G. Harding, after the wars and the Spanish flu, he talked about a return to normalcy. And I just had the sense that you hear this authentic voice talking about, we can come together. There can be healing. He specifically said, thank you to all my predecessors of both parties who chose to be here today. And again, I think he did that because it fit with his theme of unity, of coming together, of healing. And when he spoke of restoring the soul, the silent prayer, when he talked about my whole soul is in it, he goes back to Abe Lincoln signing the Emancipation Proclamation. And I just think it has such power because Republicans and Democrats admire Lincoln.
I just want to take this moment as Mike Pence took one look back at the United States Capitol where he has spent many years. This is normally a moment where you have the former president and the former vice president and the new president and the former vice president. This has come down to these four people as we watch Vice President Harris and the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, wave goodbye to Mike Pence. This has been a very tumultuous few weeks for Mike Pence. Think about what he went through at the Capitol. Think about the dissolution of his close relationship with President Trump, who he stood by with throughout the entire course of the first 4 years during tough, good times and bad times.
It's over. It's over.
Mike Pence was the de facto head of the de facto White House coronavirus task force, and that is something he and history are going to have to reconcile with. He leaves the capital city with a death toll of over 400,000 of his fellow citizens. This pandemic that has cast a pall across our entire country. I'm certain that Mike Pence, along with many of the politicians we saw in camera view today, would like very much to forget that that was part of their past, our present, our future, as the pandemic with every passing day reaches a new high.
We have less than 5% of the world's population. We have the largest death toll on Earth. We have the largest epidemic on Earth. We have the worst managed epidemic of any industrialized country. That will never be anything other than a headline legacy of the outgoing administration. It also creates the biggest hole out of which the new administration must dig.
So Robert Altman's at KELO, And my pal Linda was going on yesterday. They said
Okay.
all right.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Almost finished.
And after Mitch McConnell, last but not least, is the Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, who, it cannot be stressed enough, after the ransacking of the Capitol, came back in the House chamber to lead his caucus in a vote not to certify the election results. A whole lot of people have a whole lot of explaining to do as history bears down on them. History, of course, always in a foot race with our kind of uniquely American desire to fuzz up memories and gloss over all kinds of slights.